Number 9. The peak position of her debut single outside of Fifth Harmony. Number 33. The peak position of her debut pop solo single, Motivation. Number 14. The peak position of what was supposed to be the debut single, Wild Tide, from her debut album, selling over 17,000 copies in its first week. And then there's number 91. 12,000 units sold in its first week. 2,000 pure sales, the achievement of her debut solo album after years of anticipation and disappointment. Now, first off, this isn't random. Something really bad has to keep happening over and over again for success like that to turn into basically embarrassment. And this is what happens when so many people believe in you and you consistently let them down to the point where when you're finally ready, not that many people care anymore. So in honor of Fifth Harmony recently reuniting, I want to chronicle every single time Normani destroyed her own path to superstardom. Starting on March 19th, 2018, when Fifth Harmony announces its indefinite hiatus. But just 1 month earlier, on February 14th, Normani had already stepped into her solo era with Love Lies alongside Khalid. Khalid? I don't know. It was a smooth, mature song. It was everywhere by the end of the year. The kind of debut most pop girls dream of. Then, in October 2018, the same year, she dropped 2 tracks with Calvin Harris, a collaboration that most people would have died for. Checklist featuring Wizkid and Slow Down. It was experimental for her. It was more global. By November of the same year, she teamed up with Slack Black for Waves. Critics loved it. It won Best R&B Video at the 2019 VMAs. And yet, there was no next move. No announcement, no momentum, just silence. Now, this was the first moment Normani could have dropped like a short EP, even a 5-track project to capture the momentum. Love Lies, Waves, the Calvin Harris tracks could have built a cohesive, sleek debut mini era, but instead she stayed quiet. Cut on to the next year. In January of 2019, she released Dancing with a Stranger with Sam Smith. Another massive smash, a global smash at this point. It quickly reached the top 10 of Billboard. Normani was on the radio, on playlists, on TVs, if you were watching those. It was everywhere. Then, from March to June of 2019, she opened for Ariana Grande's Sweetener Tour. Huge exposure, but again, no announcement. This could have been her introducing myself to the world era. She had the streaming hits, the touring platform, the credibility. All she needed was to announce an album, even a teaser. She didn't do anything. But that's not really a bad thing, because then in August of 2019, Motivation came out. When I tell you that this was a moment, anyone who remembers Normani was part of like the Normani I wasn't part of the Normani fandom, but I was really interested in what Normani would do. And this was definitely a moment. The visuals were amazing. I wouldn't say iconic because, come on, but it was good. It was really good. The energy was unmatched. The choreography was perfection. This was supposed to be her crazy in love moment. The performance alone at the VMAs could have rebranded her as the next major pop girl. If she had followed it with another single not long after, and then a full rollout, it would have been amazing. People were literally waiting for her to take over pop music as a black girl. This is one thing Normani did not understand, that it didn't matter what she wanted. People wanted her to be a black girl killing it in pop. People would have killed to see her be somewhere at the top in pop music as a dark-skinned black girl. But she did not see the vision. And instead of building on the success of Motivation, because this was a top 40 debut, nothing moved. There was no follow-up single, no album announcement, let alone an album rollout, no tour of any kind, just nothing. And the more nothing happened, the more the excitement around her was fading. Let's come to 2020, because now we're in the pandemic. She can't really do a proper rollout. She missed her chance with that in 2019. After Motivation, she shifted to soundtrack songs, the ones that are supposed to tie fans over between eras. Silly Girl, Silly Girl. November 2019, just the year before, she joined Ariana Grande and Nicki Minaj for Bad For You on the Charlie's Angels soundtrack, the 2019 feminist remake of the Charlie's Angels movie which flopped. January 2020, Diamonds with Megan Thee Stallion for Birds of Prey. Both solid songs, both completely forgotten within weeks. Then came her cameo in WAP, one of the biggest music videos of the decade. Millions of eyes on her, a golden chance to drop a single right after. But again, nothing. Like, this was free marketing. The entire internet was talking about her cameo. Some were really disappointed that she was in it because they were like, oh, the black girl in the music video, and all the other light-skinned girls, especially Kylie Jenner, wasn't really dancing or being suggestive or sultry in the music video. It was a moment. Eyes were on her. That's all that was important. She could have capitalized on that with a soft single release that week, or maybe even a few weeks after. Instead, again, she disappeared like she always does after every single release. Now, I will say that we later on found out that her parents, both parents, were suffering with some medical illness, so she had to take care of them. But the thing that I'll say about that is that none of this was supposedly happening around 2019, which is what I and a lot of people feel should have been the time she released an album, a few months after Motivation, because she had so much momentum going on for her. But moment was gone. A few years later, there was still a lot of interest in Normani. In July 2021, almost 2 years of basically silence, she released her highly anticipated comeback single, which was supposed to be the lead single to her album Wild Side, featuring Cardi B. This was an R&B song. It was sultry, confident, bold, the kind of comeback single that screamed, the album is coming. Except the album didn't come. Again, just like with Motivation, the hype was there. Maybe the hype wasn't as huge, but the success of Wild Side, especially in its first week, was way more than Motivation, because Normani had always said she wanted to do R&B music. This was 100% R&B. A lot of her fans and people who were interested in Normani really felt like, oh, this is it. This is the single that is going to be leading up to the album. So the excitement was way much more, and people were way more invested in this, to the point that this song debuted within the top 15 in its first week of the Billboard Hot 100. So imagine if she had come out with an album around this time, maybe a month, 2-3 months after Wild Side had been released. This album could have done some numbers for Normani. But again, there was nothing. Like, she turned another huge moment into nothing. And we wouldn't get a follow-up single to Wild Side until March of 2022. This is insane. Fair, a ballad which was emotional, vulnerable. But at this point, people were kind of losing interest. In July of the same year, she popped up on Calvin Harris's New to You with Tinashe and Offset. But by then, like I said, people kind of stopped waiting. The interest was kind of gone, because that long stretch between Wild Side, July 2021 to March of 2022 really did a lot of damage. After this happened, people were no longer interested anymore. By this point, Normani was chasing moments instead of building an era. She had pissed her fans off so much that most of them weren't even checking out for her stuff. 6 years after her first single in 2019, Normani finally announced her debut album Dopamine in February of 2024. The first official single from the album, 159 featuring Gunna, came in April. Candy Paints dropped on her birthday in May of the same year. And on June 14th, Dopamine finally released. Normani's debut album, after 7 years of beginning her solo career, came out. Fans celebrated, at least the ones that she had left. But outside of that circle, barely anyone cared. There were no major interviews, no major performances, no visuals, definitely no tour. Everything was just fun. Now, I could blame RCA, her record label, for not really putting in a lot in terms of promoting this album. But then again, I don't blame them. Normally, I hate RCA. I don't like them. But with this specific situation, I don't blame them for not promoting this album that much. This was Normani's fault. After years of hype and Normani not doing anything, with so many instances that she could have released an album and it would have been a definite smash, I don't blame them for not really doing much with this era. And the thing is, Normani had everything. She had enough hits, she had talent, she had the stage presence, she had connections for sure, but she did nothing with it. The perfectionism that a lot of people feel like is what made her wait for the perfect rollout moment, the perfect sound, the perfect timing, failed her. And while she was waiting for that perfect time, the industry moved on. SZA, Doja Cat, and even to an extent Chloe were all building identities and consistency, while Normani was still coming soon. She didn't fail because she wasn't good enough. She failed because she never let herself be good enough. She didn't put out the music and let the fans decide whether it was perfect or not. Anyway, Normani's story obviously isn't over, not by a long shot. She's talented, she seems to have resilience, and maybe rejoining Fifth Harmony gives her creative space to come out with something, gives her creative space that she's always needed. But yeah, in the end, Normani didn't get sabotaged by the industry, she sabotaged herself. And the hardest kind of failure is when your biggest obstacle is you, which in this case is how I'm gonna describe Normani. Anyway, let me know what you thought about this in the comment section down below. Thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you in the next one.